Okay, so why should your company have a presence on social media anyway? Business is about making money, right? You don't have time for cat videos or looking at other people's selfies. I bet the mindset was the same when businesses first started to have TV and radio ads. And although this is pure speculation, I bet the first time a business owner had an ad in the local newspaper somewhere in the 17th century, other businesses were all like, "That's nonsense. It's wasted money if you ask me." But let's talk facts. Social media is still in its early stages, but not an experiment anymore because some years have already passed, and this is the ideal time to jump in if you haven't already. But what are the advantages of being an early bird with social media? It's a simple matter of supply and demand. As always, you're in competition for people's attention, so the smaller the pond, the bigger your chances of thriving and even dominating your niche. The more people that join, the higher the cost to get their attention. The higher the cost, the smaller the profits. It's that simple. But cost alone isn't the only reason why social media is winning against other platforms. The jewel of this marketing opportunity is called engagement rate. And let's look at other digital marketing avenues and their evolution. Email marketing had open rates of 37% in 2002, which dropped to 26% in 2009 and just 17% in 2011. Banner ads had click-through rates of 3% in the early 1990s, 0.5% in 2004, and just 0.1% in 2010. Now, you might be discouraged and say, well, if the engagement rate is only going downhill from now, what's the point of going live on social media? And the answer is staring you right in the face every day. Have you stopped using email or receiving any email promotions? Have you stopped seeing banner ads because they no longer get results for the people that pay for them? And would businesses keep pumping money day after day if they are not turning a profit in these two marketing channels? In fact, let's not stop at digital. Why are there still TV commercials, newspaper ads? It's because they still all work. What differs is the profit margin. And like I just said, the smaller the competition, the bigger the bags of money you are raking in. Okay, so we got this argument out of the way. Plenty more where that came from. So earlier, we brought into discussion all the other marketing channels you could use. And what social media is incredibly good at is synergizing with all those other mediums. So you can have a coupon in a newspaper and have people put that code in your newly built Facebook tab to enter a competition. This way, you not only get exposure from the ad itself, but catch their email, get a page like, and you have two new low-cost opportunities to reach out to them later on without having to pay for a second ad in that newspaper. In fact, you could even split test different days of the week to see which one got better results, different newspapers, by just creating a different code for each one. And it's real, measurable data, not the hype the newspaper editor tells you to sell his ad space. The next reason is the one I like best, because it puts ad agencies out of business. Social media works extraordinarily well for non-sales people. It favored those with a great product or service in the detriment of the over-marketed, over-promising, all-show, no-go competitors. So an honest and authentic approach will almost always win easily. In fact, I'll give you a real-life example. Let's take two more commonly known companies like Tesla Motors and BMW. On one side, BMW, we have a company that's very careful with perception. If it were a person, it would always be wearing a suit and tie, even when going to sleep, I think. And I remember the live event they had when launching the BMW i3, their electric car, somewhere in July 2013. They went to extreme lengths with production, launching both in New York, London and Beijing at the same time, having everyone build up the tension, having beautiful models presenting, a lot of flashing lights, high quality CGI graphics, and paying attention to every detail. And on the other side, we have Tesla, with Elon Musk, the acting CEO, at the center of a lot of social media coverage. And what struck me was his attitude, which was just incredibly blunt and honest, without fear of any corporate consequences, if I can call them that. In an interview, he says a fun story about how the factory ran out of some USB cables and how all the employees went around the state and bought all they could find from Best Buy and all the other electronics shops. Also, in a Tesla event where they meet with Tesla owners and fans, the atmosphere was incredibly laid back. In fact, at some point, Elon Musk, which again is the acting CEO of the company, had a glass of wine with someone from the crowd. And not only that, but he gives the mic for a solid chunk of the event to one of his head engineers, who is clearly not someone prepped in the art of smooth talking and selling. And they both wear the totally non-business attire consisting of a shirt and jeans. And this authentic, open approach is what makes them successful, because everyone knows companies face problems, and hiding them and acting like everything's perfect all the time just creates suspicion and breaks that trust bond that you create with people. And again, you want numbers, you have them. In the past year to date, while I'm making this recording, Tesla stock value has grown 60%, while BMW has grown just 18%. And let's talk social media. The engagement rate for Tesla Motors is 0.5%, so 1 out of 200 people commented or shared the post they made. For BMW, it's just 1 out of 1,000 people. And even if BMW has 30 times more likes than Tesla, it's clear to me that there is far more love for this small electric company. Besides, the first one is 98 years old, being founded in 1916. The other one hasn't yet reached puberty, being just 11 years old. So there's plenty of time to catch up. Getting back on track with why you should be on social media, my last and most powerful argument is that it's the closest marketing has gotten so far to the core of human interaction. It's social. It's based on building trust. Business is no longer a transaction alone. It's building a relationship, an authentic connection. It's the mom and pop shop across the street, not a cashier at a big corporation. You love buying from them. You don't do it because there are no other options. And as all high trust environments, everything runs smoother and faster. And I could give you a long list of books and people that agree on this, but I'll settle for 2. The first is Stephen M.R. Covey with the book Speed of Trust. He's the one who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You might have heard of that one. And the second is Jack Welch, who I think, and not just me, is the best CEO of the century with the book called Winning. And he states over and over again that when you lose trust and authenticity, you run out of business. So I hope by now that I convinced you that social media is at least worth giving a try, although for me personally, it's an all-in type of situation. And in the next video, I will share the numbers that reinforce even more the reasons to be present and active on social media networks. Here are some numbers to back up even more the reasons for being present and active on social media networks. And I'll share the stats for some of the biggest platforms out there right now. Facebook has more than 1.3 billion users with over 700 million monthly active users on mobile devices alone. In the US, 1 in every 5 page views on the internet is on Facebook. I'll say it one more time in case you missed it. 1 in 5 pages visited on the internet is Facebook. And it's just celebrating its 10th birthday. and it's the oldest among the social networks who are dominating right now. Twitter has over 500 million users, out of which more than half are active on a monthly basis. Each day, 500 million tweets are made. And in case you were wondering, the company also is bragging that they drink 585 gallons of coffee each week with just 3,300 employees around the world. Google Plus has reached over 540 million users in just 2 years, and its recent integration with YouTube will only help it grow even further. LinkedIn has over 313 million registered members, with over 3 million companies who have already created a presence there. Pinterest has over 50 million users and over 25 million unique monthly visitors. And also it grew almost 400,000% in 2012 alone. And I think at this point you have a general idea as to where everyone's time and focus currently are. But if you're still hesitant, here's the icing on the cake. Everything is in alignment for even more growth. Facebook, with its Internet.org project, aims to getting 5 billion people connected to the internet. Google is working hard on Project Loon to get balloon-powered internet for everyone. And it's not like all these companies are being forced into these endeavors. The bulk of their revenue comes from ads. So the more people using their platform means the more ad revenue they get. So it's in their direct interest to get more people online. Also, you are no longer anchored to a fixed connection. You are online all the time using your phone. I wouldn't be surprised at all if a big chunk of the people who are listening to me right now are on a mobile device. So going online is far easier than years before. So the opportunities for you as a business to reach out to your target audience faster and more frequent has greatly increased. And it's no longer kids play. These networks no longer have dominant adolescent presence like before. That era ended when the first grandma created her Facebook account to look at pictures of her nephew. And last but not least, from a business perspective, it's a marketing channel based on word of mouth. Although it might be digital, it's still someone recommending you, your product, or your service through the form of a like, follow, +1, or whatever other name it's called. And I choose the praise of others over self-praise any day, especially when it involves my hard-earned money. Don't you? Module 2. Identify the right platform for your startup. So you decided to go ahead and invest your time and money in social media. But before publishing that first post or sending out that initial tweet, you should take a moment and identify what are the right platforms for your brand. Of course, I recommend all brands should have a presence on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but a lot of the times, being present on more niched websites can prove to be extremely profitable. For example, if you have anything to do with the music industry, being on SoundCloud is almost a must to reach a more relevant audience for your brand. If your product has anything to do with dogs, then you should absolutely be on Dogster. We also have networks like Cafe Mom with a community of over 1 million moms. We have Dribble in case your target audience is made up of designers, Flickster for movie buffs, Birdpost for bird watchers, Third Age is a network of baby boomers and seniors, Behance for creative and visual artists, and I'm sure there are plenty more that were launched in the past weeks, not months, weeks. That's how fast they appear. So what I recommend you do is Google search your target audience's main passion followed by social network. But don't stop at that. Although this might not be entirely a social media marketing tip, what I strongly encourage you to do is search for forums and communities specific to your brand as well. Because at the end of the day, what is a social network? A place where people go and share their thoughts, wants, and needs with others. So the only thing forums lack might be an eye-catching design and various features. Without factoring in those elements, every forum is pretty much a social network. So don't discredit them just because they don't have a fancy logo and call themselves the Facebook of whatever. I know quite a few profitable businesses that offer services exclusively on forums. In fact, I myself, when in college, got quite a few clients to write articles for from forums. And if 20-year-old me, who had no special skills except maybe good English, could earn a few $100 a month from a forum, I'm pretty sure your company, with a focused vision and better marketing, can do a far better job at finding leads than I did. But it's not only about the right audience, it's about the right vibe. And I'll translate that into English in just a moment. Every community has its own style and type of audience. You know the saying, birds of a feather flock together? Well, nothing changes when we're talking about online networks, and each one has its own set of unwritten rules and protocols. What might be perfectly okay to do on Facebook might be considered totally inappropriate on other networks. And I'm not suggesting this from the mindset of being polite. I'm suggesting it from the mindset of being effective and getting results. So before engaging with people and posting content, make sure you understand the culture of that social network. See what works and replicate what you saw got results for others. For example, Twitter has a thing called Follow Friday, where people suggest to their followers who they should follow on Twitter. Also, the content here needs to be quick and to the point, just like a headline. Also, you should ask yourself, is the hashtag you created unique and memorable? If you don't know what a hashtag is, don't worry, I'll clear that up during the course. On Facebook, you should ask yourself if the post you're about to publish is too long, or is it provocative, entertaining, or surprising enough? On Instagram, you should ask yourself if your image is artsy and indie enough for the Instagram crowd. Is the story you're portraying interesting enough for the young generation? On Pinterest, ask yourself, does the picture I am uploading fit the consumer dream? Are the board titles clear and creative? Is the image easily categorized so people don't have to think too hard if they want to repin it on their board? These are all questions specific to their networks that you need to answer before diving in each one and doing your thing. Another problem you will face in day one, and where 99% of people fail, is because they try to close on the first date. So I'm going to make a quick dating comparison. Social media is about building trust and having a relationship with someone. And guess what? That takes time. You don't trust people overnight. In the same way, you don't trust people in a forum that made just 5 posts or 10 tweets and suddenly ask you for money. If anything, such tactics are counterproductive. So unless you're in it for the long run, social media won't prove that profitable for your business. And in the case studies section of the course, I will give quite a few examples of clients I managed where social media actually saved their business from bankruptcy. And I'm not talking about brands with millions of likes. I'm talking about small businesses with less than 1,000 likes that were built using the exact same methods and tactics I go over in this course. So make sure when deciding on what social network you want to establish a presence on, if they're a good format and culture fit with your brand and what you want to achieve. In the next video, I'll go over the top social media networks and showcase a few brands that are doing social media marketing right for each one.